What are you doing?
I'm trying to burp and it's not coming out.
Just let it out.
It's not.
No, just keep doing your stuff, and then when you burp, you burp. That's it.
Whatever.
No, you got it. I believe in you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Hello. Okay. It's kind of weird not knowing this. Hopefully by then we will have a better lighting. I don't want this lighting no more. But,
you get bored too easily.
no, it's hard to it takes forever to set them up. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's so much stuff to set up.
Well,
I mean, this is a very budget lighting.
Even the guy you mentioned me to look up said the same thing.
Huh?
The guy that you told me to learn lighting even said the same thing when you're trying to run it cheap.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why we need to change the setup. It's not that I got bored. It's just it's too much work to set it up. You know what I mean?
Just think about we're budgeting. We're just trying to save up to that point.
But I'm in the. If you're overthinking this, I'm overthinking my my purchase for what kind of lighting should we get or should we have. Not that we have a budget for it, but it's just once we have a budget for it, I'm like thinking which one I'm getting. You know what I mean? All right. Well, thank you for listening to your favorite podcast. This is the Maximum Filipino Show. I probably should stop explaining what we're going to talk about. We're just going to start with that. I have Wakka with me. How are you doing, Wakka?
I'm doing great.
Good. You still liking the mic? You still liking the voice?
Oh, I love it. I sound so much better on this than the other mic that we had.
And your face looks a lot better than having
I'm not sure about the face part, but it just makes me sound pro on this. Like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast.
And you don't have the
so the windscreen to block me.
No, you cut out the stuff that's blocking your face and the stuff that's blocking your head. Because you got a haircut. That's what I'm trying to say.
I miss my hair, low key, man.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. I like both. It's really comfortable right now for him, so he doesn't miss it. He's just saying it because he's like, you know that thing where,
miss my hair, though.
You know that thing where what do you call this? Like we envy people. Not all the time, but sometimes we envy people that what they have and we don't. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
You saying that's what I'm having?
Yeah,
a moment like that.
Yeah, I think so. I saw this meme with the guy walking. Right, this guy's walking.
Right,
and then he looked at the guy right next to him taking the bike, and he said, "I wish I have a bike." And then the guy who's riding the bike looked on his left, and he saw the guy with the car, and he said, "I wish I have a car." And then the guy looking at the other guy with the sports car. He said, "I wish I have a sports car." And then the guy with the sports car looking at the guy with the helicopter. He said, "I wish I have a helicopter."
I think I've seen that.
And then the guy in the helicopter looked at the guy in the boat and said, "I wish I have a boat." And then the guy with the boat looked at the guy that's walking. He said, "I wish I'm free as the guy with the guy that's walking." You know what I mean? Like everybody's just envious on everybody because they don't have something that.
Maybe you're right.
Other people do.
Maybe. I mean, I've learned to love it. Maybe that's why I miss it, but
yeah, not all the time. Though.
It's just more convenient with short hair.
Yeah, not all the time. But okay, all right. We're doing Tambayan. So Wakka, what do you got for us?
Yeah. So I was given the task of looking up things that I'm interested in, and things like mythology, and I was looking into the mythology of the Philippines, which is amazing. I love stories, legends, and stuff like that. And even though they're not true, it's just very creative how these stories came up.
Yeah.
And so mythology of the Philippines. That's where
what is your favorite mythology?
I really can't say I have a favorite because I didn't really look into it, but the most popular one that I'm well known is Greek mythology. I mean, just what you see on TVs or stories or in games, but not really look into it.
Like Greek and Roman, because they're almost similar.
Yeah, they're almost similar. That's correct.
Yeah, Greek and Roman. I like the Egyptian mythology. I mean, all mythology are cruel and
in their own way, yes.
yeah, and yeah, they're cruel. They're full of sex and all that stuff.
Mind you, that their realm, their morals, their way of living. I mean, the way they think, it's very different of us humans. I mean, though we may have learned rules and regulations, or in stories or in legends or however the folklores have been passed, they all gain their do's and don'ts from gods that told them to do this and not that.
That's why I think people came up with this mythology, because these are the ideas that they wish they could do. You know what I mean? Like, all these gods are just powerful and overcame with power. You know what I mean? Like, power hungry, and they can do whatever they want. Like, look at Zeus. If you look at the story of Zeus, Zeus is not a very caring god.
He's just very greedy and
he's a rapist. Like, he wants to just expand his genes to everybody. So he is. But anyway,
yeah.
So you have Filipino mythology. Did you make this article? Did you make this list? How did you do with this?
So I basically just researched and studied and learned a lot. Maybe many of you already have known or learned or heard of the mythologies in the Philippines, or the legends, myths, stories.
Yeah.
But in my case, who is a non-Filipino, though I've been there for 4.5 years, I never even come across or known that this was a thing in the Philippines.
Yeah. So you came up with this list, or you found the article?
I found an article about it, and it's just a list of my own on the side, just so I can see them all in one rather than jumping around. So it's an article that I saw online on a website called Filipino.net. So it's basically a local who may have love the Philippines, wants to learn things that people don't know or you never heard in the history. Just go out there and put it up for available to see.
Interesting.
So it was an article.
So this is like kind of a test for me, because I've known some of the mythology, some of the stories in the Philippines, but I've forgotten about them, I would say. You know what I mean? Like, this is not a very, very common thing for me anymore.
In pop modern, yeah.
So yeah, this will be kind of a test for me. So, how many you got?
I have several, but I'll try to keep it short and just tell what I've learned and liked.
All right. We're gonna start from what, like 10 to 1?
Let's go with that.
All right. Okay. Okay. Let's go with 10.
Okay. So, like 10, starting from the lowest to the highest. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, basically.
I didn't find the least to greatest.
Okay,
I just
that's
found
fine. That's fine.
A list of it. So, as you mentioned, you only known things of the very rare. You barely know what you know about mythologies, because in pop culture or modern culture, it's not a thing anymore. It's just
coming back. It's coming back. It's getting there. I mean,
really?
I'm talking about Filipino mythology.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. I think it's coming back there, because they're popularizing Filipino, the Filipino original language, which is Alibata. So they're coming back. It's becoming a trend. You know what I mean? Like the what do you call this? The Gary V mentioned this, that what is that word when you're thinking about the past?
Reminiscing.
Yeah, there's another one. I feel like it starts with a P or something. I don't know, but it's something about
Premonition, or no? That's more in the future.
You're thinking about premonition, not that. Some nostalgia. It's not P. It's N. Nostalgia. No, there's a power in nostalgia when you think about the past and you live the past. It's like a trend. You know what I mean? That's why. That's why the fashion is it keeps cycling. Like we go from a 90s fashion, then we go back to 70s and then 80s. You know what I mean? Like, it's still a trend because of the nostalgia. This is why baseball cards are expensive, old baseball cards or old stuff are expensive because of the nostalgia. You know what I mean? So I think it's getting there. I think it's coming back
as a popular topic or subject.
A popular topic, yeah, or it's something that it's cool. You know, like if you know a lot of things about the past or about your culture, and you mention it to your friends, you're like, oh man, yeah, you know a lot of things. You know,
right?
So yeah, I think it's getting there, but yeah.
Okay. Oh, well, that makes sense. It's just maybe now I just didn't know if it was something, because again, when I was out there for that long, not a single thing came up other than the current religion that's out there.
Yeah. Kellen, our brother, is really into it.
Really?
Yeah.
I should have asked him then. I didn't know. He could have been resourceful.
Or he could have be part of the podcast, but he's always busy though. Like we don't know what's going on.
True.
It's probably still sleeping. It's 10:30. Oh wait, they have church because it's Sunday night.
He's probably running it right now.
Yes, probably. So he won't be available. Anyways.
True. But yes, I've learned a lot of mythology. I mean, this is basically just built on bullet points or brief summaries of the gods or deities that they had in the whole Philippines. What do you know so far?
Well, I don't want to spoil it, but I know some mythological creatures and mythological stories. I know quite a bit. So you were right when we were in the Philippines. It's not really a common conversation because there's not really a movie based off mythology. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Like a popular, not even in the Philippines. Like they didn't make a popular mythology stories or movies, which is fascinating because it's it's interesting, you know what I mean?
True.
And we talked about this because so Wakka and I talked about a lot of things, like any random things in the world when we're driving to work and back home, or just anything. Like sometimes we text each other, and someone will come up with something, and we're like, "Oh, that's a good idea." So one day, this is during church time. So if our pastors listening or watching this, yes, we were doing it during service. So I texted him. I said, "Hey, bro. Can you imagine if there's because we're playing this game called God of War, and it's based off they just shifted now from Greek mythology, and they shifted to Norse mythology. Yeah. So I said, what if they do like different kinds of mythology? And then we ended up talking about like Christians, like the Bible and all that characters. And I said, I wonder if they would do like Filipino mythology. And then at first I was like, because it's like what you said, it wasn't really popular when we were in the Philippines. So I was like, I don't even know if we have mythology. So we looked it up, and there's like hundreds and thousands of mythologies everywhere, in every country that we haven't heard before. And then there's Filipino mythology, and that's how I got this idea of doing a list for Filipino mythology.
Okay, that makes sense to come to.
And I gave it to him because it's kind of weird if I make the list and then he'll talk about it. It's like, it doesn't really relate me because I'm not Filipino, though I like Filipinos.
All right, that makes sense.
So I made you make it, and then I have no idea. I haven't seen the list. He made the list. So we're gonna talk about it.
Okay, so yes, it's not a list like a bullet or the typical articles that we have read that has points explained and then share, but what it listed are the gods that the Philippines believe. Now, before we go into particular gods or deities, apparently, and probably you already know, it's based on region. It depends on which region, whether from Luzon, Visaya, or Visayas, or Mindanao.
Yeah.
So as I was studying all three, they all are very different.
Yeah.
They have similar context or concepts. But they're very different. However, they haven't worded directly, but they have mentioned it from here and there that some of the deities or mythologies have been influenced by foreigners or outside beliefs or mythology, such as Hindu, Muslim, or what's the other one I just read?
It's pagan. There's also pagan belief because we believe in souls. We believe in the god of this and the god of that, which is funny. We'll talk about it in the end of the month podcast because I've been reading and researching about some of the stories going on in the Philippines, and there's this one popular celebrity that said that the original belief system in the Philippines was Muslim, and that's partially wrong, partially right. I would say that in my own understanding, I would say that it's one of the first religion in the Philippines before Christianity came along, but one of the first ones is pagan. We believe in pagan gods. We believe in mythologies, and We believe the god of the sea, the god of the trees, god of the ocean, and all that kind of stuff.
That falls into the whole definitions of folklore, or the whole category of folklore. I have to even look that up. That basically folklore is the main word for all the categories, such as folk literature, folk songs, which will fall into bards, and some of the, I don't know which nation or world it revolves in. The show The Witcher that's on Netflix, or the game The Witcher
with Henry Cavill.
Yeah, but even they made games off of it.
Yeah. It started from a game. Well, I don't know if it started from a game, but the show is based off the game.
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember what country or concept is coming from. But it sounds very Irish, or somewhere in somewhere in the East Europe-ish area. Wait, why did I fall into that? I just lost my train of thought.
Folklore.
Oh, okay. So folklore. Yeah, I was trying to say bard. Basically, they're songs that will talk about legends or about history, something like that. But it's all in lyrics, or like in the Bible, the Psalms.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Folklore is the main one, and then breaks down to 3 branches, where folk literature, song, and speech. But mainly where myth.
Speech, like stories?
I guess.
Okay.
But it doesn't fall into literature for some reason. But so within folk literature, it breaks out to 3 branches, such as legend, myths, and folktale. So I'm trying to figure out what's the difference. So basically, the category of myth, legends, and folktales are basically hand in hand. Folktales are stories that has been passed down from generation to generation. Legends are some facts that have been extorted, been exaggerated. And
makes sense.
Myths, basically stories of beings or fantasized characters or mythical creatures that has no facts, no basis, no proof of it, just made up. But origins of those beasts, which is called myths.
Interesting. But all 3 of these are a combination of, like, all of them are a combination of all 3
folklore.
of them.
Yeah, they're a combination. They're basically like synonymous to one another. They work hand in hand, but apparently they have their different.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
But each region have their own belief system, and it's very interesting. So let's start with Luzon. So Luzon have a concept of heaven and hell, and they have a tier of deities, and their highest supreme god or deity is by the name of
Bathala.
Bathala or Bathala.
Yeah, you don't say Bathala.
That's right.
You don't say Bathala because he's not taking a bath.
Exactly.
Bathala. There's a in Samoan language. There's a kayofi in the T.
Yes.
And between T and H. Bathala.
Bathala. That's right. That makes sense
Bathala.
because you guys don't pronounce TH as.
No, we don't say Bathala.
That makes sense. I've been pronouncing it like
Bathala.
it was a Viking or Norse mythology kind of pronunciation.
Yeah.
So Bathala as
he's like the supreme god.
Yes, in Luzon, overall, he is the concept of a supreme being, a supreme deity. He is a creator god.
He's the Zeus of mythology.
Yes, in the Philippines, and his name is Bathala, or by the name either Abba or
Abba. Right.
or described as May Kapal sa lahat.
Yep, may kapal sa lahat. Yeah, which is funny because may kapal is that a 1 word or 2 words?
2 2 words.
The may kapal, yeah. Kapal is another translation for thick.
Oh.
Yeah. May is like distinguishing something, like you are this, like it's something. It's hard to explain what my is. I know how to use it in a sentence, but I just don't know how to define it. So the thickness, like you are, but they use it for describing something that it's overwhelming. Like when you go in a fog, it's like, man, this place is so thick. You know what I mean? Like you are just marvelous.
So how would you? Oh, okay,
it's
so
marvelous. I think that will be the translation for it. Marvelous.
Marvelous, kapal.
Kapal, yeah, may kapal.
So how would you say that in your set, in the sense in what you're defining? How would you say that in Tagalog? Tagalog. I'm sorry.
May kapal sa lahat will be the marvelous of them all. Marvelous of them all. Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, sa lahat will be all. You know what I mean? Like lahat is all. And then sa will be a preposition.
Yep. The way how it's been translated is called the creator of everything. Would that be accurate?
No. No. If you translate it word for word from that may kapal sa lahat, that will not be the translation for it. But that can be another description for Bathala. Yeah. The creator of them all.
Okay. I mean, I guess the way how you said it, marvelous of everything you said.
Yeah.
It made more sense. But yes, he is a supreme being. However, I looked in everything. Of course, each region have somewhat of a supreme being. But I looked at other things that may be interesting. So going back to Bathala, basically they said it's influenced from Hinduism. I would assume from Greek.
I think it is. I think it will be Hinduism because it's like Brahma, the creator god. Brahma, you know what I mean? He will be the Brahma. Yeah.
Makes sense. I mean, I'm not really familiar with Hinduism, but if that's how you define it, okay.
But it's more of a pagan religion. So it's like you have every small gods everywhere, but this is the main god. You know what I mean?
Okay. Define pagan. What do you mean? I'm kind of
spirits.
lost.
So pagan is the spirits. So that's why pagan belief is there's the spirit of the tree, the spirit of everything.
Okay.
There's the small gods for this, small gods for that. It's kind of like Hinduism per se, but it's not really because it's the spirits are among us kind of thing. So the difference between that, because paganism, they don't believe necessarily, at least in the Philippines where I grew up, they don't believe in reincarnation. So there's a death in paganism. But in Hinduism, they believe in reincarnation, or some fields in Hinduism do. But yeah.
In some of what I study, but overall, yes, there's no belief of reincarnation. But some do. Now, the reason why I say some do, now, not just in Luzon, the whole region.
Yeah.
Apparently, in each, depending on the areas in Luzon, they have their own belief system of what they think about their creator being or their gods. Like, this one says, for instance, I don't know if you heard of these tribes or people, the Bontoks and Kanais.
I have no idea.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right.
No, I can't see it. It's too far from here. I can see your screen.
Well, it's Bontok, Bontok, and Kanais. Basically, of the Central Cordillera, considered.
I see. Okay.
So their god in that area, they call him Lumawig.
I've heard about Lumawig. Yeah.
So apparently Lumawig is basically the same person as Bathala, but
yeah. I get that. Yeah, I know Lumawig. I've heard about Lumawig. I've never met him. Okay.
But yeah, so you have Bathala, and then other areas such like let's see, Ifugaos. They call their own Kabunian.
Yep. So if you notice with this, the religion of the mythology of Philippines compared to other mythology, they do not make what do you call this? Like Hercules.
Oh, okay. They don't make like heroes or warriors?
No. Like half human, half god children.
I guess you're right. I mean, the process of what I've learned in all this, because the gods here, or the greater deities, I guess, put it for the lack of term, would also find a mortal being to, as they were, sire or create their children, but for some reason they will consider them deities, but lesser ones.
Yeah. So the reason why I said that, because you know the belief of deism, Deism. I heard
of the term, but I'm not
Deism is they believe in God, but God doesn't want to do anything with you. They're just up there. So that's the idea of Bathala and Lumawig. They're gods, they're supreme gods, but they're just up there.
That's right. So as they describe it, of of each region, they have a supreme being,
Mm-hmm.
but they have their lesser gods or diwata, the lesser
Yep.
deities, to basically do the management. He's the if you think of it, a corporate system. He is the CEO, and he has all these other people telling.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. All right. Who else?
Okay, so let's continue on. So we have Bat Highland. So what intrigued me about Luzon, at least, Luzon is very they adore the agricultural gods.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I mean, because in the other regions they don't, or at least they don't emphasize that.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah.
So, but in Luzon, they really emphasize their agriculture gods, such as
well, because most of the businesses around there, or not businesses, but jobs around there are more farming. You know what I mean? Like Ifugao, you've been to the rice terraces. Remember that when we went to Ifugao?
I don't know if is Abra considered part of Ifugao? No, I don't think I went to Ifugao.
No, we went. Oh, you didn't. Wait, we went with Stacy. Remember Stacy's place?
No,
Were you with us?
I don't think so.
Oh, you weren't with us. Okay.
Maybe Tay, or maybe not.
No, but Tay was. Oh shoot, I don't even remember. Oh wait, you guys were with us. We went to Abra, and then I went to Ifugao with someone else, with other group of people. That's right. So we have rice terraces in the Philippines, and then Cordillera regions. We do a lot of farming and rice farming, a lot, like
That makes
crazy, a
sense.
lot. Yeah.
Isn't Luzon the big
The biggest island. Yeah, the biggest not island, but the biggest
Wouldn't it be an island?
section. Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
I mean, we already consider the whole Philippines
Well,
an
because
island.
you can't
but
say Visayas is a big island, because Visayas is
combination.
a combination of a ton of islands.
But it's the bigger Luzon is the bigger territory, basically.
Yeah, the biggest of all three
That's-
of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, as I mentioned, Luzon really emphasizes a lot on their agriculture gods. One of the greatest gods that basically mingled with Bathala is Adianel.
I have no idea.
I don't know how I have to think of it in the Tagalog way, so I have to make sure I pronounce it because I'm. So the spelling is Idianale. Idianale.
Okay. Idianale. Okay.
The goddess of labor and good deeds, or also the god of agriculture, or the patron of animal husbandry. I have to look up the word husbandry. Basically, it's just the term to cultivate.
Oh, I see. Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
And or a branch of agriculture. So Adianal is one of them, and many other gods that also. One of the other things, they even have this mythology also have gods for, like you mentioned, there's gods for so many things, for
Yeah.
almost everything, but even for a concept.
Oh yeah. It's because of that pagan religion, for sure. Because I won't be surprised if there's like a god for your nails, or god for the dirt between your nails. You know what I mean? Like those kind of stuff. Because it's really common.
Sometimes I like you. Okay, then you're right. Because there's also a god in here that also intrigued me. It was. What's the god?
So in this god in Denali is just the god for agriculture and farming.
Yeah. So in the article I read for
Does that include animals? Like farm animals?
Yes.
Oh.
So yes, Idinale is, again, they didn't really have the details of it. They just say that she has history with Bathala, and they spawn two other gods.
She a chick?
She's a chick.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so it's a she, the goddess.
The goddess, yeah. The goddess of agriculture.
Yes, the goddess of agriculture. I mean,
And
they
then represents husbandry. That's awesome.
fair enough.
Hey, come on. It's the Filipinos. It's not our fault.
Okay. Yeah. And yes. Again, agriculture. You guys are very known for agriculture. Also, her. Well, that's one. No, sorry, not mingle with Bathala. It was a mingle with.
Lumawig?
No, another guy that is related to agriculture. Dumangan.
That sounds like our old professor, Tomaga.
He is a god. Apparently the gods in Luzon that lives in the sky is called sky god, or sky gods or gods.
What's his name? Inelu?
No,
Did
Dumangan.
you get Inelu from One Piece? The Sky Island.
I just got it. Basically, he is the god that yield better grains or good harvest. The god of good harvest.
Oh.
So I'm gonna just kind of skip through things here,
That's fine.
because it's just, again, it was a lot of information that got to me. Oh, another one, like I said, they come up with weird gods or deities. Like, for example, there is a god that is the goddess of lost things. So if you need to find something, you ask this god, "Hey God."
That's right. That makes sense.
Her name is it's a female chick, of course, goddess. Anagolai.
Anagulai.
It's Anagolay.
Oh, okay. Anagulai. Yeah.
All right, now here's a big one
Anagulai.
that intrigued me. So there is there's also a goddess of fertility.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Now the way how they described it in the mythology literature, this is described as or her characteristics is either androgynous. That didn't sound right. Androgynous.
Androgynous.
Androgynous. As you can tell, English is not my word, especially terms that are very scientific. So, androgyn.
Okay, good.
Androgynous, okay?
Androgynous, yes.
Or hermaphrodite.
Yep, hermaphrodite.
Or
yep.
in the simplest terms that they would even also describe her as a transgender god.
Oh, that makes sense. When was this article?
This, for particularly what I read, because they did 3 articles for each region. And this one was put together 2019 for Luzon.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, all right. Androgynous transgender god.
That
Interesting.
But as weird
No,
as
but I think it makes sense. So here's my opinion. I think that back in the day, when they came up with this folklore, a transgender. First of all, transgender wouldn't have been invented, so they wouldn't have any idea what transgender is. Well, not just because it's English, but there won't be any term for it. You know what I mean? I don't even think there's a term for it in Tagalog, but I believe that they think this god is a hermaphrodite. I believe that this god has it's either this god has two genders, right? Two of the sexual organ, or this god doesn't have any gender at all.
It's the former.
Okay,
how they
the
describe
latter?
it, but I know
Or
the former.
the first one.
The former.
Okay, yeah, or like that, but it wouldn't be transgender. You know what I mean? Like, this god will not be a transgender.
That makes sense. And I didn't mention her name. It's and well, you can't even tell whether it's a her or a guy. Ikapati or Lakapati.
It will be
I mean, I guess it could be either or, because she's this god is an either or.
It will be Ikapati. Yeah, that will be a capital I.
Yeah, it is a capital I. It just looks like an L. But she is well respected and loved. She is the kindness of the lesser deities that they have out there. But yeah, she was.
Well, it makes sense why this guy would have two of the sexual organs, because it's fertility. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's moving on, because again, this is just Luzon, and I'm trying to get by.
Okay.
So, apparently that there you guys have other gods, not just for agriculture or for the grounds or for good harvest. You also have warriors, like, similar gods for god of war or Hercules. So one of them that intrigued me is because his concept, his preference is very is interesting. So there's a god called Apolaki, the sun god, as well as a patron of the warriors. as you know, he's a yeah, he's basically a sun god, or other places would know him as the sun god of death or war. Now, why I picked his name, because early people of Pangasinan
Okay.
claim that Apolaki talked to them. So basically, when they talked to him, they meant there were gods that they came down and also mingle with the mortal realm.
Yeah.
So they have deities, and he's one of them. But his preference was very interesting. So he believed that blackened teeth were considered the standard of beauty.
Blackened teeth.
And basically, all blacked up teeth. And some of these natives told a friar, well, you know how they were during the times when the gospel was trying to be reached out, there was a friar at the time that was considered that disappointed Apolaki because he had very cleaned white teeth.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, so I guess
I've never heard about this god. This is the god of warriors?
He's known as a warrior, but he's the god of sun, the sun god.
Okay.
But what also didn't make sense to me, but again, this is just folklore. They have gods that it's repeated over the same position. Like they have sun, the god of the sea, or the god of the waters, still waters, or stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's more than one sun god here and there.
Okay.
Yeah, but there again, this is just me picking out pieces. Let's see.
We get it. You don't have to repeat it. Sun god.
Whatever. Okay, and lastly, I'll skip all the other things that are funny. Sitan. You guys have a god of the underworld in Luzon called Sitan, similar to Satan, basically. And he had helpers. One of them really messed me up. I was like, what? One of his helpers called Mansisilat. Did I pronounce that right?
So who's Mansisilat?
So this goddess is the goddess that of broken homes. So basically, she's the god that breaks relationships in houses. So she's a shapeshifter. She will either shapeshift to a doctor, or a beggar, like a poor person.
Yeah.
And then once she's in the presence of the house, she will just cause friction between the husband and wife.
Interesting. So she's related to Sitan?
No,
connected?
She's so Sitan is like one of the greater deities.
Yeah.
So has greater deities have Titawa, Titawa?
No, Diwata.
Diwata. Basically, they're the lesser deities.
So
that
she is
works
connected. That was my question. So she is connected to Sitan.
Yes, I thought you said related.
Yeah. So Mansisilat?
Yeah, Mansisilat.
Mansisilat. In this transliteration in this era or in this generation, silat is another word for touch, but in a more
erotic way.
Kind of, yeah.
But
because the word salat and silat is interchangeable, so you can use the word silat or salat. Salat is more of a I don't know if it's a Kapampangan term, but I think it's a deeper Tagalog words. So salat.
That makes sense.
So maybe that's how she breaks families. She's touching people.
I low-key thought about this is that, because they were saying, before I say my point, they said that during the pre-colonial times, when the Philippines just had their own colony or civilization, because apparently that you guys were doing great, way before being overruled or being
maybe some parts, but not all.
Well, in general, they were saying that. Of course, in Visaya, right, or Visayan,
Visayas, yeah.
Visayas. In Visayas, they said they were poor as well, but in general, you guys were okay without help from other countries. Like you had your own literature, language, and all that.
Yeah, we have that, and I'm not here to defend about the colonization of the Philippines, because we had a rough time in the hands of colonizers. But when the Spaniards came to the Philippines, we are still using bow and arrows. while they have their own muskets and
Fair enough. Yeah, you're right.
and guns, and you know what I mean. Like we are fine as in our own version of, oh, we are
Development.
surviving. You know what I mean. But the development of our
Civilization.
it's really slow.
As some places will say, primitive in its growth.
Yeah, you can say that, but we're not. Yeah.
Yeah. But okay, now that being said, I low-key believed that they just needed a goddess to blame or somebody to blame. It's like, no, it wasn't my fault. Or it's not your fault. It has to be that goddess' fault.
I can see that. I can see that. Whoever came up with that mythology creature is a cheater. It's like, yo, I caught you again, man. It's because of this, whatever that name is. What's her name? Mansasilat?
Yeah,
Mansasilat. Yeah, it's because of Mansasilat. Like, boy, you're a lying bastard. It's nothing to do with that creature. It's you cheater. Blaming a creature for your own.
I really thought that was fun.
No, that was I believe it. I believe it.
Someone just had to put it up. It's like, nah, there was a goddess, some god, a deity that did this.
I just can't imagine them like so it's like buddies like us, you know what I mean? Like buddies, and like, yo, I cheated on my wife, man. Like, what am I gonna do? How about this? Let's come up with a god. Let's blame that god, bro. You think she's gonna believe it? Yeah, I'll get you back. You know, once you blame him, once you blame the god, I'll be like, yo, it's true. I've met her, and she, like, you know, possessed him, and he did all these things because of that god.
And she was a shapeshifter. You can't
tell. Oh my gosh, we're just walking and, you know, asking for some whatever money we use.
That's funny.
You're asking for some clay, asking for something, and then it just happened.
But yeah, that's a little bit of a summary of Luzon. But apparently, I mean, there is many more, but these are the brief ones that intrigued me. Now, when it comes to Visayas and Mindanao, I liked it more because they shared more of their legends rather than their capabilities or their positions. So in Visayas, before I go into their deities, what they believe, they don't believe in the concept of heaven or hell because no one ever brought it to them. So there's like, they believe in the afterlife, but they don't believe hell or heaven for the reason of good or bad. It's just basically a place. Like, okay, when someone dies, what do they do with the dead soul? So in Visayas, they just said the dead souls will go to the bottom. Now, in order for them to go to so-called heaven, it's all based on how well your family offers to the gods.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
So
that's definitely a pagan religion.
Now, if your
100%.
family do not offer, now again, as I mentioned, Visayas briefly earlier was considered a very poor area. I guess they were poor at the time, and they didn't have enough to offer to the gods. So, but the belief system is, if the soul is dead and cannot go anywhere, well, they just drop it to the trash. So their underworld, what do they call it? So they have three beliefs: the upper world, the middle world, or earth, or the underworld.
Sounds like a Norse mythology.
Well, the way they call it, that was the belief by apparently they're like dominant tribes that are well known in each region.
Oh, okay.
So this one was based on the Sulod of Central Panay in Western Visayas.
Yeah.
So they have three. They believe in three different worlds. The upper world, and forgive me for murdering how it's pronounced. Ibabaw Nun for upper world.
Ibabaw Nun. Okay. Ibabaw will be top. Ibabaw is top.
Okay, Ibabaw Nun. That's for upper world.
N-U-N?
N-U-N.
Okay, Ibabaw Nun. Okay.
And Baktungan.
Okay.
For the middle world.
I think this is man, I'm pretty sure this is because it's Pangasinan and Panay and some of the northern area of Luzon. So this will be an Ilocano terms. Yeah. And
the underworld, Idadalmunun. Idalda. I almost said something else.
Idadalmunun. Okay. All right.
For the underworld. So they do have like they don't believe in a creator. They just believe that there is someone in the higher position, and those in the higher position. Oh, and apparently, they have two people in a high position, which is Tungkung Langit, Tungkung Langit, TUNGKUNGLANGIT. Tungkung Langit or Langit.
Langit, tungkong
Langit.
langit, yeah.
Tungkung Langit, which is the male supreme being.
Langit is heaven. Yep.
Supreme male being, and then the female supreme being is Alunsina.
Oh, okay. Alunsina.
Now, like I said, they shared more of their legends, like a story connecting from one to another. So basically, these two are greater beings of their male section and the female section. Apparently, they split worlds in certain places.
Well, at least there's equality in there.
Right. Well, apparently, pre-colonial. Again, I was reading a bunch of things while I was looking up this article. There was no greater hierarchy among men and women. They were all
That's not true. This article, as soon as I found that whoever wrote this put transgender in there, there's a bias in here. There's a there's a identity politics put in here, because that's not true. Because if you go to, I know eventually we're gonna go to Mindanao. Mindanao is they have rabbis in Mindanao, and those are mostly men. The rabbis that they have in Mindanao are mostly men, and then you also have sultans. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, during pre-colonial.
Pre-colonial, yes.
Really?
Yep, they have sultans.
Oh, okay.
We have all those.
Well, that makes sense, because as I was reading, they said there's been a hint of what's the not infected. What's the word?
Inspired.
Not inspiration. They. I just said it in the beginning.
Affected.
Not. In those lines. There's a word, but basically there's a hint of regions influenced by outside. Foreign. Outside of the Philippines. So that would make sense.
Yeah, the sultans.
Yeah, the sultans.
Yeah, there's a lot of regions in the Philippines that are started as Muslim tribes.
Because the first thing I heard about sultans, or the term I hear, of course, Aladdin, and that's based in India. Sultans are.
It's not. It's Arab.
Well, I thought it was.
You thought
as a
it was
kid.
Yeah, I thought it was
that makes
India
sense.
too, but it apparently it's Arab. Because I thought that castle was Taj Mahal, but it's not.
Fair enough. Yeah, it looks like it.
It wasn't Taj Mahal.
So again, they made them in Visayas more story-like. Same thing in Mindanao as well. So these two greater beings, they got.
Are we still in Luzon, or this is Visayas now?
This is Visayas. I just mentioned.
Okay.
So we're in Visayas again.
Okay.
Visayas have different concept of belief of heaven and hell, because it was never introduced to them.
Yeah.
Now they not in the exact definition of reincarnation, but they do believe couples. So let me read this out. Okay, couples who were reunited in the afterlife,
Okay.
will live the life before. However, women cannot conceive for some reason.
In afterlife?
Yes. Well, that's not reincarnation, is it?
Yeah, because it's afterlife. But they're still married together if they're a couple?
Oh, there we go. That's where it is. So babies, if they die in an early age,
Yeah.
did not have an afterlife.
Mm.
Instead, they are reincarnated for about 9 times until in their final rebirth, they were buried. I don't know why. They were buried in a coffin in the size of a grain of rice.
Okay. Interesting. All right.
Yeah. So, of course, I guess there's some reincarnation beliefs, but I don't know why. I guess babies just get smaller and smaller and smaller after they die and come back to life.
Yeah, but it's kind of weird because, like, if you're going to reincarnate, why are you going to reincarnate to a baby that's about to die again? You know what I mean? Like, oh, this baby died, so now you're going to reincarnate but to another baby that will die again as a baby. And then after that, it didn't happen 9 times. And then, like what you said, it's like the grain of rice. So getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
It's just weird.
You're like, if you have a baby that died, you're like, I wonder how many times have you died?
Before you made it.
I wonder if this is your 3rd death because you're a little younger now.
That's true. But yeah, so they have these two goddess, Tungkung Langit, that's you say.
Tungkong langit.
Tungkung Langit. And
Tungkong langit.
Tungkung Langit.
Okay.
Langit?
Langit. So if you say langit will be a term for langit-ngit. It's when you open the door and then the creaking sound.
Oh.
That's langit-ngit. So you don't pronounce it langit. You say langit.
Oh, you drag the A.
Yeah,
Langit.
Yep. There
Langit.
you go. Yeah, you got it.
Tungkung
There's some
Langit.
mamafa up there. Langit. Yeah.
Mamafa. That's a new term. I mean, my buddy here is learning my language, and
And mamafa is one of my favorite words so far. Mamafa. I like that word.
Mamafa in grammatical terms, it's the
dragging sound.
The drag. There is a term, and I totally forgot. But in mamafa, in the modern language of mine, it's heavy.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're mamafa, bro.
Okay.
All right, go ahead. This should be your name, bro. Oh, I'm gonna start calling you mamafa. Yo, what up,
That's
mamafa?
too long. That's 3 syllables.
Still, it's my favorite Samoan word so far. It's my favorite Samoan word. For some reason, I like saying mamafa.
All right. Anyway, so these two the supreme being among the men and the supreme being among women, they got together, and these guys are the rulers of the upper world. Now, one of the stories I hear, so an origin myth from Panay, right, suggests that these two were the chief of the upper world, were actually married and settled down in heaven. After marrying the goddess, he's like a typical man that every woman dreams of.
Okay.
He was a hard-working man.
Tungkong langit.
Yes.
Okay.
So when the world was in chaos, he was working really hard to form it to where we are now. And his wife, however, I don't know whom she would be jealous of.
What's her name?
Alunsina.
Alunsina. Okay.
Alunsina was a lazy, jealous, and selfish goddess.
Interesting.
Now, I mean, they have their role. What was her role? She was the goddess of the eastern skies, and of course, Tungkung Langit is the supreme being, the creator or the goddess of all. So basically, she gets one day, her husband goes out doing something, and then she was really jealous of him, and she will send a spy to spy on her husband. Now this, what do you call these kind of wives?
Psychos?
Yeah, I mean, she basically hired a PI, private investigator, to investigate her husband. And then her husband got wind of it, really got pissed. They had an argue. Then she up and leave.
Okay.
Okay, now 6 months later, of feeling so lonely, he tries to find her, tries to get her back. But she couldn't find her, so he got all her belongings, throws it out to the stars, into the skies, hoping that she sees that all her jewelries and all those things that belongs to her is being out there and wants to come back. None of that happened. Thus, why we have stars, moons, and sky.
Interesting.
So all the things that belong to the wife belong.
That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
That's a lot of stuff, girl.
Basically, yeah. She all her stuff belongs to the sun, moon, and sky.
The sun too?
Yeah, sun, the moon, and the stars. That's it.
Okay.
Let's see. That's one.
See, that's a really good. I can see that being a God of War game. You know what I mean?
If they just study it right.
Yeah, that would be a good artifact.
So they do have, again, I mentioned they have an underworld and they have someone that rules it. His name is Panlinugon.
Okay, Panlinugon.
He's I don't know how he rules the underworld. I get it, but then he's the god of earthquake. think he just gets a broom and shake it upstairs and hey, keep it down.
Yeah. Or he's farting. I don't know.
That's one. But these were the supreme beings. But the most popular god that is well known in Visaya is the god called Kaptan. Not Capitan or Captain, but Kaptan. It's Kaptan.
Captain. Okay.
So he is a very well known being. He is also a supreme being, but not the first two that I mentioned. He is a supreme god, and there's again different beliefs and different tribes, or would you call it tribes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Different tribes. I'm having a hard time breathing, just talking.
Yeah. You need to inhale and then exhale.
I didn't want the mic to
Okay.
hear that.
Go ahead.
So, Kaptan is the god of the skies, and one of the things that the stories, I mean, they have different, again, there's different region tribes that believe in certain things. One of them that really intrigued me was a story about him is when he has children that birthed him grandchildren. First and foremost, let me explain who he is. He's a supreme being, but he also rules over those, just like Bathala. He has other Diwatas, managing the earth. Here's an interesting one of how they created man and woman. So apparently, man and woman are from bamboo trees.
Yes, that's right. Yep, this is a very common, this is a very popular mythological stories in the Philippines. We call them the Malakas and si Maganda. Malakas is strong, that represents man, and then Maganda is beautiful, which is women. They lived in a tree, in a bamboo tree.
Oh wow!
And then the tree broke in half, and that's how you got the Maganda or Malakas and Maganda. This is the Adam and Eve version of this.
So they, in other regions they call it si kalak, the sturdy one, and the woman si kabay.
She's beautiful.
Didn't really describe, but these were in one part of Visayas to believe that these were the first two humans, the Adam and Eve. But one of the beliefs in other regions in Visayas, what intrigued me is that basically Kapat had grandkids, and these 4 grandkids were the sun god, the moon god, the god of the stars, and one of them wasn't mainly a god, but he was a very, very strong being. His body was a rock, like a legit rock.
Interesting.
So the 4, basically one of the 4 became rebellious and greedy.
Yeah.
Killed 2 of the siblings. And then because he was getting greedy, wanting more and more, he decided to try to, you can say he was Lucifer.
Okay.
So he tried to cause a coup.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes up to the king, or he attacks Kaptan, his grandfather, ruler of the skies, his kingdom, not himself. And then when Kaptan got wind of it, he was very furious, very, very mad. So he is a version of Thor, or maybe Thor or Zeus. He had a lightning bolt, shot him and his followers, and because he was made of a rock and he was in the skies, so the one who rebelled was the rock being.
Yeah.
He exploded, parts fell, and this is where we have land.
Oh.
Okay, and then. And the trippy part was because he was still mad of all this. One of his last grandchildren was still alive, came to visit his grandfather just to say hi, innocent as she is, but he was so mad still. Got another bolt, killed her. And when he finally calmed down and actually learned what happened, he was hurt. He was hurt and felt guilty. And long story short, he decides to commemorate them by being the sun god, the sun, being the sun, the moon god. There's the moon and then the stars. So he created his children, or commemorate these beings.
The rock child killed by making the star, moon, and the sun.
Yes, and
Gotcha.
one of the other supreme beings that was with Kaptan decided to plant a seed, grew up a bamboo tree, and then there goes the first man and woman.
That makes sense. Interesting.
So
okay.
again, it was more story-like. There was more legends and mythologies, but that's an origin of that. Let me see some of the things I did like.
So Diwatas, while you're doing that, Diwatas, I sound like I have a flu or something. I don't know. Okay, so that's a lot better. I need more treble in my voice. Okay, so Diwatas in Filipino culture is more of a what do you call this? Fairies. They're like fairies. Yeah.
Okay.
That's at least that's what I thought they were until maybe someone changed them, but they are fairies. Diwatas are fairies.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dewata is that makes sense. I guess it's unchangeable of terms, but I guess it depends of. Sorry, I coughed this way. My bad. No COVID up.
The cough button.
Cough button. What were we talking about?
The Diwatas, the fairies.
It was an interchangeable word of fairies or deities, but the lesser ones, lesser gods or demigods. I guess.
So I imagined Diwatas like Tinkerbell.
Yes.
Yeah, just like that, or the tooth fairy.
Tooth fairy.
The tooth fairy.
Oh,
Not necessarily like the fairy godmothers. They're not like that. So if you think about Diwatas, they're like tooth fairies or Tinkerbell.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's just what I learned. I don't know if that's truth because it sounds like that they are like demigods, but not necessarily half human, half god. But they're just lesser kind of gods.
Lesser beings. I mean, because they will also use Diwata for demigods too.
Oh,
so
okay.
because they have the essence of a god, but half of it, they're considered a lesser god.
Yeah, but they're not like half humans though.
Well, some of these, whatever mortal that they made love with.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But again, that's the origin of the supreme beings. Again, each region have their own so-called supreme being, but one of the
You said that like 10 times already.
Okay, now one of that intrigued me are the other ones, the lesser ones. Now there is a god, or so Visayas, in other areas of Visayas, they have a similar concept of Norse mythology.
Okay.
So this is when a warrior died in a battle, the ancient Visayans believed that they traveled up the rainbow to the sky. In fact, in Panay, epic Labao Dongon,
Okay.
the rainbow is said to be the blood of these fighters falling down to earth.
Wait, what would that be Norse?
Because they have a place to go. Like when warriors die, there's no hesitation of
I
death.
see what you're saying. I thought you're like connecting the rainbow to the Thor movie.
Oh no. So what I mean is that
What do you call that? The that
the Bifrost, the
Bifrost.
bridge.
Yeah, it's not Bifrost.
No, it's simply they believe that warriors, when they die again, they have a place to go. Like in Norse mythology, they call it Valhalla.
Yep.
And they have no shame of death. They believe death in battle is rewarding. So similar to that. That
if you think about it, a lot of beliefs are like that. So it's not just Norse mythology or not just Filipino mythology. Because I just learned this recently that I've known this a long time ago, but I just confirmed it that Japanese warriors, they much rather die in war because that's more honorable to die in war than to surrender. So be a POW during war is dishonoring to them.
Does that include the suicide?
Yes, that's why they commit kamikaze and things like that. So any form of death in war, in battle, is honorable than surrendering.
Is that why? Have you seen the movie The 47 Ronin?
Yes.
So is that?
I think the 47 Ronin is more of a revenge.
Yeah, they were fighting for their. The reason why they're called Ronins is because the masters that they followed died, but they died terribly.
Wasn't he assassinated or something?
Mm-hmm,
yeah, so they're trying to avenge that. But it's dishonorable because it's something about murder. I don't even know. I forgot. But
there. How about the death at the end? They were given the honorable death of a warrior.
Yes. Yeah.
Rather than a Ronin.
That's a different kind of honor though. So
that makes sense. But you said involving death, any death.
Yeah, in battle. I'm talking about in battle.
In battle.
This one is more of a instead of so it's the highest form, an honor of punishment. You know what I mean? So it's either you get hanged or whatever punishment they do. They call it harakiri. They call it harakiri. Harakiri is cutting your gut. That's why they take out a small knife, they cut their gut to all their stomach, and then once they do that, they cut off their head. Yep.
That's the capital punishment.
That is the honorable punishment. That's the honorable way of being punished. Yeah, dying. Oh. So you will be buried not in the place where prisoners will be buried, but in the honorable people kind of thing. You know what I mean?
To have their last strength to cut their guts open.
Yep. And if you watch what do you call this? If you watch
The Last Time? No, not The Last Time.
Wolverine. Remember that very first scene when the nuclear bomb exploded? All of the like 4 or 5 Japanese people they committed harakiri because that's an honorable way of dying instead of just the death from this thing. But one of them, chickened out, and it's like, I can't do this, so he hid. And
that's right. Yep. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So my point is a lot of beliefs are like this. So now we also have the extremist, the Islamist, and they believe in the honor death, the suicide. You know what I mean? Because you can get a better reward in afterlife because of those reasons.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting. Now, for these warriors, and the reason I brought this up because I thought this was very fruity. Mm-hmm. And when I say fruity, I thought this is just, I don't know how to describe. How do you describe fruity?
I don't know. I have a different explanation of fruity, but weird. Would you say weird or?
I guess weird. I mean, in some cases, some use the word fruity as a homosexual degrading word, but it's not what I'm referring to. It's when someone say, "Man, you're too fruity. Like you're too colorful, sensitive? Weirdy, sensitive, emotional."
Okay, gotcha.
The reason why I say that is because they called this warrior, one of the great ones in Visayas, this warrior turned rainbows, or a deity called Varangao. He was considered the god of the rainbow.
Interesting.
So he must have met
leprechauns.
Yeah, leprechauns.
Yeah, they're buddies.
Or he must be really short.
Or not.
No pun intended.
What would that be pun intended? Because leprechauns are short.
Yeah.
I thought that's what you're referencing.
Well, yeah, but what I meant is that when I was out there, they're all short to me.
The leprechauns?
No.
Or the Filipinos?
The Filipinos.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that one that was funny to me about his name or being. Not that I'm clowning. It's just an interesting way to call a hero, a rainbow. Just imagine wearing a suit all colorful. That what you call fruity.
Yeah. Like
Fruity Pebbles or Fruity Fruit Loops.
Although Joseph in the book of in the book of Bible, in Genesis, he's wearing a colorful shirt from his father. You know what I mean?
I think at that time he was fruity too.
Not Joseph, Jacob. Jacob, yeah. Jacob gave his father gave him Isaac gave him a
very colorful coat or whatever they call it at that time.
Yeah, attire, clothing. Yeah.
I still think it was fruity.
Cause you wouldn't wear anything colorful? What's the most? I know we're deranging from the conversation, but what's the most colorful? Because I think I would wear like a bright purple. I would wear a bright purple or a bright pink. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna wear bright pink this Sunday.
Oh,
tomorrow.
I guess it's very just subjective of how I say fruity, but I guess it's just very colorful too.
Which is funny because you're Samoans and all you guys is like the sarongs are colorful and bright. You know what I mean? Not necessarily multiple colors.
And that's when I say fruity is multiple colors. When I think of fruity,
like
I'm
the
thinking about
rainbowish,
the rainbow or fruit pebbles or fruit loops.
But you guys, the sarongs are bright colors though, right?
No, normally we don't. It's just that lately, just for the sake of design and
Okay.
fashion.
Yeah. Okay.
But
I guess you're right, because some of your sarongs like that. That was a darker color, like a darker red. Or
yeah, because the
darker
origin
orange.
where those sarongs came from, they came from tree barks, and they beat
Really?
it so hard. They keep beating it until it's
Beat it.
they beat it until it's very thin like paper,
And then they
sew it together. And
makes sense.
yeah, so they were they used to be brown or dark.
That's
whatever.
why. That's why. But that one is cotton.
Yeah, it's cotton. It's made of cotton.
Okay. What else? Do you have
So-
anything for anything else for Visayas, or are we going to Mindanao?
I'll move on to Mindanao. I mean,
Okay.
like I said, they did believe in. They don't believe in, like heaven or hell. They just have people that works in those, realms, upper world, middle world.
And in your own studies, limited time studying this, you don't know if they believe in afterlife or reincarnation per se.
Well, it differentiates. Like you said, we don't really. The Philippines don't really believe in reincarnations. Like I said, Visayas have a concept of reincarnation, but when they're babies.
Oh, I thought that was the Luzon. Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
It's Visayas. Okay, and then let's see why. Okay, just let's move to Mindanao.
Okay.
I don't want to drag this too long.
No, you're okay.
Now Mindanao is also has a concept. It's colorful. In the sense of it has a story, it has legends, not necessarily just gods and positions, but Muslims have as a very dominant concept in
Mindanao, yeah,
Mhm.
it still is.
Yes, they have the religion and culture in the south are unique because of the Muslim and Hindu Javanese. You ever heard of Javanese?
Mm-mm.
They're from the island of Java. That's just a
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
yeah. I didn't know. I was like Javanese. Did they just misspell Japanese? But
Javanese.
yeah, I was like Java. Man, they know how to jive, but it's Jav. Okay, Java influence in their shape of their gods. Let's see.
Really? That's the first thing that pop in your head when you're like Java?
It
They know how to
was-
Java? Not JavaScript? Like in
no.
the computer?
no.
Oh my god. Okay.
So as a result of that, the way the Mindanaoan ancestors worshipped the spirits in the pre-colonial era combined both their old beliefs and those of the foreigners they came in contact with. So there's no origin per se. Maybe they had their own, but in time it got influenced by the others. That
I see. So it's mainly just the Muslim beliefs and Hindu. So whatever combination of that will be
mm-hmm.
in there. I think the combination of Muslim and Hindu is Hare Krishnas or Singhs. Oh crap! What do you call those? They wear turbans.
I don't know.
I forgot what they're called, but yeah, because I was reading this book about world beliefs, and that's one of them.
Okay, so they do believe in heaven or hell, or a greater being.
Yeah.
Okay, and one of their supreme beings is called Pamulak Manobo. Pamulak Manobo.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard about that. Pamulak Manobo. Yeah.
So he was also considered the creator of everything. He also created the first man, the first woman. Now here's a funny one. He created this. I guess there has to be a legend about these two creatures, about the eel and the crab. You ever heard of it?
Mm-mm.
So he created these two beings, the eel, Kasili, and the crab, Kayumang.
Kayumang.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
These two creatures are always together, and every time they bicker and they fight, the crab bites the eel, and it causes an earthquake.
Bites?
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, it bites. I thought when I heard it bites. Why are you laughing?
Because crabs don't bite.
Yeah, they snap. They use their claws or whatever
Whatever snips.
Yeah, but anyway, when they bicker and when the crab makes a move on the eel,
How big is this crab?
I have no clue, but it's big enough to cause an earthquake.
Okay.
But I don't know where the eel comes in. How does it cause an earthquake between these two creatures?
When they fight?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I mean, is it that his bite or his claw clamp so hard that the sound vibrates so?
Or they're just too big, and they're every movements that they do. It's like
Oh,
the like the big serpent in God of War.
speaking of big serpent, you guys do have your own Leviathan or big serpent.
Oh, okay.
So and it was early on. I was gonna mention that, but I didn't. Anyway, so in Luzon, you guys have a big serpent called. Let's see.
He's gonna look for it.
No, it's. I have it highlighted because I thought it was intriguing. Where's Luzon? There's Luzon. These two beings are called Halia. Halia.
How you spell it?
Haliya.
Liya.
Yeah.
Halia.
Halia. And the big serpent is Bakunawa.
Ooh, I know Bakunawa.
So Bakunawa.
Yeah. Bakunawa. There's a legend about Bakunawa that Bakunawa eats the moon.
Yes. So apparently you guys had 7 moons.
Yes.
And then he ate all 6 until one survived.
Yes.
This Halia,
Who's Halia?
the moon goddess of Bicolano mythology.
Okay.
So this goddess tends to go back and forth from where she is to the waters of Earth just to take a bath, to shower. And legend has it, the world used to be illuminated by 7 moons. The gigantic sea serpent called Bakunawa, the mythical creature. And as you mentioned, there was mythical creatures. They didn't mention that. Oh, they did. Apparently, crocodiles also is you guys' mythical creature.
Okay.
Because they seem to believe that souls are in them.
Oh, the Bakunawas or the moons?
No, the crocodiles.
I know, from the Bakunawa or from the moons?
Dead souls. No, not from the moon. Just dead souls, dead beings.
Oh.
So they believe.
That's weird. Okay.
Yeah, and then you guys have a bird. I forgot. It's a long name. A bird that if they see the bird, depending on where it goes, it determines your luck.
Interesting.
So it's your guys' black cat version. When a black cat passes you by,
I wonder what's the name of that bird.
It's a long word. It's in Luzon beliefs. That bird is
Bakunawa. I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Tigmamanukan.
Tigmamanukan. Okay. You know what's manok, right?
No.
Chicken.
Oh, it must be a big old chicken.
It must be a big old chicken that flies, apparently.
Yep. It's a flying across someone's path. It considers an omen. There you go. Bad or good.
Wow.
So you guys have your guys' own Leviathan or a big serpent. I say Leviathan because Leviathan is considered a
big creature.
A big creature or a dragon-like lizard or a world serpent in the waters, a big lizard.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, going back to Mindanao. Almost done here. So, how you liking so far?
Good.
I hope you guys are enjoying. I mean, I enjoyed as I read on, and I guarantee this is more than 10 points.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
But we're almost done. I'm enjoying it. Hope you guys are enjoying it with me. Hope my brother's enjoying it. Or just, yeah. All right. So there's these other 2 god beings. They're called, their name is Mebuyan and Lumabat.
Lumabat?
Yeah. Mebuyan.
It's like Lumawig. Lumabat.
So
Lumabat
is they're siblings. However, they're very opposite, polar opposite. One is the god of the sky, which is Lumabat, and Mebuyan is the goddess of the underworld. Now, she's an interesting one when I get there. Excuse me.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to burp, and it's not coming out.
Just let it out.
It's not.
No, just keep doing your stuff, and then when you burp, you burp. That's it.
Whatever. So Lumabat, the god of the sky, is a hunter. One day he went out hunting a very intriguing or interesting deer. I didn't know you guys had deers out there.
Mm-hmm. We do.
So apparently he was hunting a deer one day, and he was hunting with his hunting dog, and this must have been eons or years because this guy hunted this eel or this deer when he was young, and to the point when he finally caught it, he was very, very old.
Mm.
Okay, now why I brought this up is because so when he finally caught this very interesting
Deal.
deal.
Pickle.
No, I'm thinking about eel, but I'm saying deer.
Deer.
So deer, he took it back home to show his prize, showing off his game, to the village wherever he was from, and then the story goes straight into him killing his father, not just once but 8 times.
Okay.
Now the reason why he killed his dad, it doesn't say why, but every time he kills his dad, slowly but surely, his youth comes back.
Mm.
Now I don't know what happened to the dad. But he became younger, and then when he got to the point where he was going to heaven, he wanted to take his sister with him, but the sister said, "Nah, don't want to go." So she decided to go to the underworld, or went below the earth and created a town of her own.
Oh, okay. The sister or the other
sister.
sibling? Okay.
So the brother's gone, and the sister now let's get to the sister. Mebuyan did not want to go to heaven, and she decided to create her own town. For some reason they call it town, but I didn't get the name. She creates her own town, a place for the dead souls before going to the real underworld. So it's like a pit stop for them.
Okay.
But so before they go into the real underworld, they have to go here, to the towns to do a ritual to cleanse themselves, head to the underworld, so they won't reincarnate.
Okay.
So, the way how they depict the underworld in Mindanao, it's not like a bad place.
Okay.
Not at all. It's again, they don't they just believe that it's a place to go. I mean, again, they do believe I'm sorry. I mentioned they do believe in heaven or hell, but they don't. They don't believe heaven or hell here. They just believe that the place in the underworld is a place where all the dead souls go and just disappear. That's it. Now, the reason why I brought this up was she was funny because when babies die, so she is depicted to have tons of breast all over her body. And because of that, so she can nurse those children who died, these baby spirits who died, before they join their families in the real underworld called Gimo Kudon. Gimo Kudon. Gimo Kudon. Sorry, I'm just making sure I don't murder things. So that was the most intriguing part of
too late. They're already dead.
Yeah, but it's for the adult spirits. They also stop by.
You didn't get my joke.
Yeah, I know they were dead.
No, because you said I just want to make sure I don't murder them.
No, I want to make sure I murder the. Oh, I get it now. It just hit me. Disrupt everything. Basically, that's just a brief summary. For the Mindanao mythology, there wasn't much. But as you can tell, that there are different mythologies, different stories from each region, and even within each region, you guys, within the popular tribes that are well known in each region, they also have their own understanding or beliefs of their, their gods, their deities. So this is what I learned. Hopefully, this interests everyone, or at least you.
No, I like it. I like it.
And the articles that I read are basically, again, from one website that was within 2 years of when they created it.
Okay.
And that's all I got.
Who's your favorite creature? Mythological creature? Being
or creature. I have to say, well, there was a god here. I guess it has to do something with the god of death, but it's the one in Luzon, I think. I don't know why, but in Visayas. I forgot why. But
I like Bakunawa. Bakunawa is one of my favorite creature besides Bathala, because Bathala is the most popular one.
Yeah.
But Bakunawa is an interesting creature that eats moons.
Oh, did you even know you guys have a goddess for the sick?
We have goddess for everything.
Fair enough.
We have God for literally everything.
Oh, I forgot to bring this one up. So this particular god, he's funny and he's a hothead one. So one day this is the god in Visayas? Yeah, Visayas. And this one here, He okay. So this guy by the name of Makaptan,
Okay.
um, he was the god of sickness. Now, this deity who killed the first man, he was the first man with a thunderbolt and visited disease and death on his descendants. Long story short, he murdered a town or murdered people because he had not eaten anything or drank anything that's pangasi,
Okay.
rice wine. So it made him upset. He pissed him off so much that he wanted to people to suffer, and long story short, he made them sick.
Interesting.
Um, yeah, there's a lot. If you go on again, there's so many guys that I briefly just touched on. There's interesting. Their legends, their folklores are great.
Nice. All right. Well, I hope you guys learn a lot of things. I did, and like I said, if you guys want to learn more about these kind of stuff, just check them out. What is the website again, Waka?
From Filipino. Now the way to spell it is FILIPIN. Sorry, KNOW.net.
You gotta say it again. You messed up.
FILIPIKNOW.net. Filipino.net.
Filipicno.net.
No.
I'm sorry. FILIPI.
KNOW. How do you spell no? Like knowledge.
Oh no. Okay. Filipicno. Filipicnow.
Filipino.
Filipicnow. Yeah. Filipicno.
And they have a bunch of interesting beliefs of history that was not known in history or anything related to Filipino. It's an interesting website.
Yeah. It's one of the good I guess you have to do it in every information that you find in the internet, because you don't necessarily believe everything that you find in the internet. But
True.
Like what he did, you reference other websites too, because this one I believe has political identity biased in it. So
Right.
So reference other websites where you can find if you want to really get into this kind of mythology. And I'm still if for some reason someone's listening to this and you have an access to whoever made God of War, or if we're lucky that someone from God of War is listening to this because you're bored and you want to go look at other mythology, I still think this is a good idea to make a mythology,
Yep.
based off, because we have a lot, like what Waka said, we have a lot of different kinds of mythology, and
Yes.
they're awesome, they're good. I still can't wait for the second God of War though.
Right?
It's about to come out. It's gonna be awesome.
Ooh.
Yeah, do you have anything else to say, to mention?
No, I just enjoyed the Philippine mythology. It was great.
Yeah.
Go ahead and read it.
Awesome. Well, my name is CB. You guys can find me on the social media world, the Gumfam Show. That's THEGAMFAM Show. Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. YouTube. Come follow us. Check us out. Watch our videos. I haven't posted anything lately. When I say lately, it's like a long time ago. I haven't done anything yet. But yeah, come check us out. Let us know. And where can people find you, Waka?
Yeah, you can find me on almost every social media you can find out there. Facebook mostly. I'm more active in Facebook in looking, not anything posting. But Wakka127 is my username or name to find me as, or in Instagram or in Twitter, and as well as LinkedIn.
There you go. And you guys can also follow the Maximum Filipino Show, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and all that good stuff. Just make sure we ask you to tell your friends about us if this is very helpful for you and you think this is beneficial for a lot of people and you think this is fun. I think it's fun. So let us know and tell your friends.
Yeah, please.
That's right. So as for me, CB, and Waka, and the rest of the Maximum Filipino Show, we'll see you guys later.
Late.
Bye.
Correct.